Friends, today I'm going to introduce you about the Netscaler. However, Netscaler does a lot of things. But if in one line I have to explain you about the Netscaler, then I will say Netscaler is an application delivery controller. Means it is a device which will deliver the applications over web. So for that, it will accelerate the application. It will ensure the application is available in any of the worst to worst condition, and it will secure the communication also. So let's discuss these three features. I mean, the acceleration, availability, and security. So let's discuss these three features in little more detail. First of all, application availability feature. For availability, there are some features of the NetScaler like load balancing, content switching, GSLB, surge protection. So these are those features which are responsible or which will enhance the availability of the application. First of all, load balancing. I think you are aware about load balancing. If there are multiple backend servers and you want to divide the load, or you want to divide the request among those backend servers, there may be any type of backend server, like that may be a web server, that may be a DNS server, or that may be any other kind of server. So you can divide the requests which are coming to that type of server, and you have the number of servers of the same type, so you can divide the requests among those backend servers. So for that we have a load balancing feature of the Netscaler. Another feature is content switching. That feature is actually what it does, that you can forward a request to any particular backend server depending on any condition. Like you want that if the request is coming from a particular browser like Internet Explorer, then the request should be forwarded to a web server A. And if the request is coming for suppose from a iPhone, the request should be forwarded to web server B, and the similar kind of there may be more conditions depending on we can forward the request to any particular backend server. So for that we have a content switching feature. Another feature is GSLB. This is also load balancing, but what's the difference between the normal load balancing and the global server load balancing? If your backend server are available at different physical locations, I mean at the different data centers, then your normal load balancing will not work. For that you have to configure your GSLP. The last feature of the same type is surge protection. So what the surge protection? If there is a much more load, suppose numbers of requests are coming for a particular backend server or a particular type of feature like website, then you want to hold the traffic for some time, so that when the backend server will be free, only then you want to forward the traffic to the backend server. So for that we use a surge protection feature. And what the priority queuing is, if you want to prioritize the traffic, like if the request is coming from user A, user B, so you want to prioritize the type of users, and depending on that priority you want to you want to forward the request to any particular backend server. So that is priority queuing. Now the second type of feature, that is acceleration feature. So we do have mainly two features which will accelerate the communication. First one is app compress feature, which will compress the data, and after compression it will forward the data to the client side. So after compression the size of the data will be lesser, and if the size will be lesser, definitely the communication will be faster. The second feature for acceleration is app cache, which will cache the contents which is actually delivered by the backend server. So your Netscaler will cache those contents, and if another user is requesting the same content, now the request will not be forwarded to the backend server, but your Netscaler will itself deliver those responses. So for that we have app cache feature. The third one is the security feature, and for that we do have a number of features on the Netscaler which will secure the communication. Like we can configure the protection from the DOS attack, so it protect you from layer 4 DOS attacks and layer 7 DOS attacks also. We have a rewrite and responder feature which will modify the headers. So using rewrite and responder, we can modify the headers, and even we can modify the contents which is written inside the packet. So generally we need to modify the headers if we want to hide the information, like any secure information of the server, their name, their IP addresses I want to hide. So I can hide those information, and then even not only hide, but we can delete any particular header, or we can add any particular header, and we can modify the header, and after those modification the request will be forwarded. So for that we do have a rewrite and responder feature. We do have a AAA for traffic management. I think you are aware about AAA. I mean, authentication, authorization, and accounting. So your NetScaler is responsible for that. The last feature is NetScaler app firewall. So your NetScaler is actually a very advanced firewall. It is not only can block any particular port or IP address, but also it can identify that what kind of information is being carried out in the packet. So depending on that kind of information, like it may be any secure information of the credit card, so it can come to know whether any credit card information is there, and depending on that we can define some actions. So these are some of the major features of the NetScalers. Now let's discuss about what are the different types of platform of the NetScaler. So we do have a you know hardware NetScaler, which is called MPX. So that is available in a in form of hardware device. We do have a virtual appliance also, that we say VPX. The configuration of MPX and VPX is almost same. Only the difference is, I mean, there are different MPX models are available in the market. So according to your requirement, you can purchase any particular model. So the difference between those models is only the throughput, but the configuration is same. So the third one is the Netscaler SDX. SDX is a hardware box on which we can install multiple virtual appliances. So these three types of NetScaler platform we do have. So that's all about the introduction about the NetScaler in details. Uh, about the configuration of those NetScaler we will discuss in the next coming modules. Thank you.